Hi, I'm Natasha, and I'll be talking about the impact of large-scale neutering programs in Malaysia. We'll talk about the legislation in Malaysia. In summary, there are no legal recognition for roaming dogs in Malaysia. That means that all the dogs that you see on the street should be rounded up by the local government and being eliminated. Cats, however, is in a slightly gray area. Lots of no mention of cats in terms of how local municipalities should control them. And the Department of Veterinary Services, which is tasked to enforce the Animal Welfare Act, sees the release part in TNR as abandonment. So they actually discourage local governments or groups to perform any TNR activities. So what is happening instead is a lot of catching and killing of the animals on our streets. And this is done especially in response to complaints, so that the local government is seen as taking action against some of the complaints, regardless of what the actual complaint is. But there are good news. Lately, we are seeing lots of, not lots, but a few municipalities are doing something different. So, for example, some of them are actually trying to do some TNR work. Some of them are actually doing differential licensing so that they can actually encourage pet owners to neuter their dogs. And if we talk about roaming animals, what information do we have? We don't have a lot of reliable information or data coming out about roaming animals. We don't know how many there are in Malaysia. One of the more reliable sources that we have is from the pet food industry, which looks at the total population of animals. So we don't really know what percentage or how many of these animals are actually roaming or unowned animals. Because no surveys are being carried out, we also don't have good evidence where dogs or cats are coming from. So this is my opinion, my personal opinion. I believe that many of our stray animals are coming from abandonment, and these are mostly from unwanted pregnancies. So when it comes a burden for this, for the pet owners, they are dumped at places like the marketplace or food courts, places where people think there are lots of sources of food for these animals. I also believe that many of the dogs that we see on the streets are coming from places where uh, dogs are being kept in large groups and mainly unneutered animals, because people believe unneutered animals are better at guarding, more territorial, better at guarding. But they also don't have good confinement, so the fences are porous and dogs can actually go in and out of these places. So when places like, let's say, construction site, once a construction is done, they pack up and move, but they leave the dogs behind. So a lot of times in Malaysia, when we go around, we see a lot of the dogs are roaming in packs, and this basically looks very dangerous from the public perspective. There are lots of also local groups now that are actually voicing out for the animals. Many are actually doing their own little activities, and most of them actually have shelters. So sheltering is becoming a major thing in Malaysia, and lots of cats and dogs, as you see in the picture here, they are basically collecting a lot of them from the streets. Um, the main sentiment from a lot of these groups is a no-kill sentiment, so they are urging the government to stop all types of killing, culling, or euthanasia. And many of them believe that TNR is the only solution that would work in Malaysia, so they are encouraging the government to do so. Now let's talk about our neutering program. The name here implies, I mean, it's a Malaysian language. It implies that it's being done in a community collaborative way to improve basically the entire community. Well, I do have a low cost neutering clinic because I believe that there's always a place, regardless of how rich your city is, there are always people who are going to look for affordable neutering. And it's also one of the fundamental activities that should be done um, to control the animal population. But clinic can only do so much. We want to do a bigger scale. We thought about, I mean, like the idea is to have a big scale mass neutering event where we do at least 500 animals in a week. So we pick a place where the first time that we do it, we pick a place where we find that a lot of families are keeping lots of cats in a multi-cat household. And I said lots of cats. I'm talking about at least 20 to 30 cats per household. And a lot of these animals are not neutered. So we started there first. We don't want the services to be free for them, so we want them to actually pay a little bit. So it costs very minimal, but at least it costs something. So it puts a value on some of the services. And aside from the pet owners there that register and bring their cats, we also find that lots of rescue groups, NGOs or shelters are also utilizing these services because they can get either the shelter animals neutered, or they can do a little bit of a TNR within their areas. Of course, we can't do this alone, so we partner with various different partners. We partner with the vet school so that we can utilize the vet students as our volunteers, but we also at the same time expose the vet students to this kind of work. We partner with the vet association, and we also partner with the local government as well. And we do have more and more sponsors coming up to basically provide some of their products or services so that we can run our operation, or we can give it to pet owners. For example, the pet food, we give it to the owners as incentive for them to bring the animals for neutering. One of the most important supporter is from the royalty. So we have the Sultan of Selangor's wife here supporting us. Um, she's an animal lover and she likes to support good initiatives for animals such as this. And it is a big deal, especially for the local governments to be seen aligning with the local royalty family. So when we use her name when we conduct this kind of events, or showcasing these events, uh, it gets a little bit more easier to get the local government support. Um, Before she married into royalty, she was actually a news anchor as well in Malaysia. So she utilizes that to get the media on board and to use the media to promote this kind of events. So how many have we done? So on average, we have done about 600 to 700 animals per event, and each event is about a week long. In total, right now, we have about 3,500 that animals that we have done. I know it sounds like a drop in the ocean compared to the entire population of animals in the country, but we can talk about the outcomes other than just the numbers of animals that we affect. So some of the things that we are seeing is, one, volunteers. We are seeing lots of people who actually want to volunteer for this kind of events. I was surprised like how many vets actually signed up for this event. We can get up to maybe about 100 vets per event. These are mostly private vets, vets from various places. They're willing to travel to come and contribute back to society. We get, of course, we get vet students, we also get vet nurses, and we get either laymen or people from rescue groups coming to volunteer as well. The total number of volunteers keep on increasing every event that we do as well. And with exposure to so many volunteers, which is good, we get to expose them to good veterinary standards. So we are seeing lots of refinement in their neutering techniques, whether they're practicing in the clinics or whether they are seeing it in the universities, like vet students, what they're learning and what they're seeing. Hopefully that they can take back things that we are doing for the animals. So for example, scruffing of cats can be quite a normal routine for lots of places, for vet students to see or for private vets to see, and we are doing more toweling instead or to handle the cats, and hopefully, like, that can actually encourage them to think about different ways that we can handle animals in a low stress way. Coming back to the governments, we are actually seeing a change now in the governments. So they are actually starting to request us to come to their areas to hold this event. In fact, I can tell you for now, we are definitely getting more requests than we can actually handle. Um, and some of them are actually happy to allocate budget for this. Budget is one of the challenges that is hard to get out. So if they don't provide budget, at least they are providing the logistics to run this event. Like, for example, letting us use the community hall for free, arranging for logistics like transportation of our equipment back and forth, providing food for volunteers, for example, printing of banners and promotion of the event, and so on. We also have the local politicians within that areas that actually also contribute funds to some of these events as well. So lots of positive things happening within the local government. And I am starting to see lots of copycat events as well. So some of them have come to visit some of our events and they get inspired. They go back to their own municipality and run this event. So some of these events are run at municipality level. Some of these events are also run at the private clinic level. So it doesn't matter. For me, I think it doesn't matter who's running it, what's running it, as long as more animals are being neutered at the end of the day. And governments are starting to talk and also take action. So that this is all positive. Sometimes, yes, the action is positive. Sometimes they revert back to their old methods, but at least they are thinking of change. And I think that discussion for change is very important. One of the municipalities also has visited outside of the country, so they are looking at different ways that they can manage stray animals. For example, cat parks is probably something that is interesting, that is unique in some places here. Um, whether it works or not, it remains to be seen, right? But at least they are now thinking outside the box. So some of the challenges remain. We still have big challenge getting budget, especially if it comes from the department that also have to control diseases and other pests as well. So sometimes we have conflicting interests or priorities. Dog bites also will continue to remain a challenge, and one of the things that is lacking, I feel, is the discussion around dog bite prevention or dog bite prevention education with both children and also adults and people who don't know how to behave around animals. But unfortunately, dog bites is always a big negative event, and a lot of times the ultimate action is to round up a lot of the stray animals and to kill them. But our story does not end here. So there's lots of discussion that's going around the government, the public, and the NGOs. Even groups like lawyers are starting to stand out and what do you call that, like speak out for the animals. So there's hope that humanity will win at the end of the day, and it remains to be seen what works in Malaysia as well. So that's the end of this presentation. So just to let you just show what's a snippet of what's happening with some of our Potong Royong events. Uh, and my email is here. If you have any question about operational of the campaigns, or if you want to come and actually visit some of our neutering campaigns, feel free to contact me on email. Thank you very much.